This is my single. Probably good.
Welcome to this week's edition of SoccerCast, everybody, presented by our local Ford dealers. I'm your host, Jenny Chu, here with Evan Weston.
Hello.
Miguel Gallardo.
Hola, hola.
And Rick T, our producer.
Hey, everybody.
All right, let me run through what we're going to talk about today super quickly so you guys know to stay tuned. First of all, well, we're not going to get into it, but I won the predictions. We'll just say that now so that everybody knows. I won the predictions.
So we don't have to talk about it at all?
No. I won the predictions. Lions teeth. No, sorry. Lions teeth?
Jenny won the prediction in the room. However, someone DM'd us their prediction and beat Jenny.
By 1 point. It's not really get beat. You know?
I want to... So I just want to say something. Rick T did the worst out of all of us.
He did extremely poor. What did he get? 3 out of 12?
But he got 4. Okay. 4. Get the number right.
Okay.
But
I think it was 3.
I want to understand.
Yeah, I remember it being 3.
But I'll take
3.
4.
I want to understand.
Get the number right.
I want to understand your thought behind your choices because I think they're very interesting.
I just played with my heart and not my head, you know? That's it.
I think that's going to
But also I said after the Portland prediction, I remembered, wait, Chara's going to be out, and I wanted to reverse that, but I didn't because I had already said it.
Oh, no.
So could have done a little bit better, but.
Well, you know, that's the beauty of this game.
Well, the other thing is, too, is I was factoring in the CONCACAF Champions League games a little bit more into it. I don't think I
Did you
picked...
choose Red Bull to
Sounds
lose?
like a lot of head and not a lot of heart there.
Yeah.
That is
exactly,
true. Yeah, I
Evan.
pretty much picked every CONCACAF team to lose. And obviously a lot of them got knocked out, and so they ended up playing their starting lineup. And yeah.
Okay,
You know what it was? Is I played a little bit too much with my head and not enough with my heart.
That is brilliant. Yeah, I was about to give you some props and how, you know, you'll be surprised how many times you'll be right because you play with your heart, but obviously that wasn't the case. So I don't know what the excuse is now. You have no excuse for being this poor.
Okay, guys, we're going to recap Orlando v. Montreal. We will preview the New York Red Bulls game. I know Evan and Miguel have tons to add to that, so you guys can look out for all that stuff. Do you have some stats for us, Evan?
I do.
Okay.
For
do
that
stats.
game, yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get into stats. We'll run over MLS fantasy and how we're all doing. And what else? Maybe talk some U.S. men's national team here on Thursday?
Yeah, coming up on
They will
Thursday.
be here.
Let's talk about that a little bit. And that's about it. Shall we get started? All right, Orlando, Montreal. Whoever would like to take this, I'm just going to put it out in the air.
This is on you guys. I blacked out. I don't know what happened.
I'm just going to open it up to the room.
Well, obviously we saw what happened. I think when you have a game planned like James O'Connor did, and you get scored on within 10 minutes 2 times within 90 seconds, I think it changes everything and everything goes out the window. And I think that made it very difficult. I think if I'm being honest, Orlando City was surprised by the approach of Remy Gard and the Montreal Impact. I think we talked about it all weekend, or all week rather, about them being a counter-attacking team.
Yeah.
That's how they play their best football. And when I say best football, I mean the ugly but productive and effective football over the last 20 games before this season, where they were one of the best teams in the league in terms of productivity. So they came in and we're all thinking they're going to be a counter-attacking team. But they came out to play and they came out to press us, and I think we didn't know how to handle that. And also add to the fact that we had to make some changes in the lineup, and not just in the lineup but also the formation, and I think that created some confusion. And I think the players just individually just weren't up to the task, especially in the first 15 minutes. And once that happened, which was already too late, you have to climb a very tall mountain, then things become the plan kind of goes out the window, right? And but the team settled well, and they started to create opportunities. And before, and I don't want to get too far into the game, but before the 2 goals, Dom Dwyer had a very clear opportunity, but I think that would have changed the game, because then you force Montreal Impact to play a different way too, that maybe would have benefited us. But that was a golden opportunity. I think it was the 7th minute with Nani makes a good play. Incredible, so much composure and so much class on that ball. Just waited for the perfect time to play Dom in on his left foot. And as we remember, Dom just put it over the bar, slightly over the bar, and I think that would have changed the game. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, there were some real opportunities. I don't think it was all negative. Obviously, James O'Connor said it himself. The 3 goals were just not up to the standard that you would expect. The third one, I actually kind of give them a break on because they went to an all-attacking group in the 74th minute when they brought on Santi and Josue, and you had Juan and Mendez playing center back. It was that attacking. So, I mean, you're going to give up a goal if you do that because they sold out to go for it because they had nothing to lose. I commend them for doing that. So I'm not too concerned about the third goal. The first 2, I mean, he's right. They are not goals that an MLS contender should be giving up. And they know that. And it's you burn the tape and you move on. That's all it is. But yeah, they had opportunities. I loved Chris Mueller late in the first half, getting one on his right foot and taking a crack from outside the box. He missed it by about 6 inches over the bar. They had Bush beat. There were several opportunities for Dwyer, and eventually he did get one in. Really, really happy for Santi to come on and get an assist and not to be selfish, to square the ball and to make a play. He certainly looked the part.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope we get to see a little bit more of him.
That was, for me, that was a highlight of the day, was the fact that a player that should be a homegrown gets the opportunity to debut for Orlando City. We know he's been working so hard in preseason, Jenny. I know
we talked about him
we talked about it a lot. He was fantastic in preseason, worked very hard, very humble, appreciative of his opportunities to come in front of his the fans and come in front of his family. Probably they were around here. I thought that was really good. And on that particular play, he showed a lot of concepts, a lot of elements that for me are very encouraging.
Oh,
he was very smart when he made his run. He was very physical to stay on his feet. And obviously, the most important one is decision-making in a split second to realize that Don was in a better position and put him in. That guaranteed the goal.
And not every forward would do that in that position. A lot of people would take that shot, and you wouldn't be wrong,
Right. Absolutely.
The smart thing to do as a teammate is to play that off, and not everyone does that.
Yeah,
so.
and that was really, really good. And as I said, I really love the fact that the maturity that he showed on that particular play, given the fact also that, as you say, Jenny, most forwards would try to score on their own, but also put yourself in his shoes. Home debut, my team is down. You know what I mean? My first pro game, I want to score. Mm-hmm. But to show that decision making at the end and that team first mentality was really nice to see. So I'm really encouraged, and I'm really happy to continue to see his journey here in Orlando.
You hear so much about, academy all over the league, and it's nice to see the academy produce a player that then produced for the first team. You hear so much about it, and we're going to hear a lot more about it with Luis Muzzi and his background coming into the club and how focused they are on bringing the academy into the picture in a big way. But it's already producing a player like Santi who came in and gave the team a contribution right away.
Yeah, and we have 2 other ones. We have Benji Michel, who we're hoping is going to contribute at some point during the season. It's a long, long season with difficult schedules, and he showed a lot of quality during preseason and training. And then the other one, Mason, the goalkeeper, who was an academy player, all been coached by Paul Shaw, or analyst, who speaks very highly of them. He's just gone on loan to Tulsa Roughnecks. So it's really good to see the academy players continue their journey. Hopefully we'll have Mason at some point back, because I really do think highly of his abilities. I think he can be a top keeper in MLS.
We're going to talk about this too when we talk about the Red Bulls. You're going to need your entire squad to win in this league with the travel and the length of the season and how physical a league it is. You need to go 1 through 27, 28, whatever it is. You got to be able to trust that guy to come in and play. It's what Red Bulls do better than anybody in the league, and it's why they won the Shield last year. And so that's something that all these guys are going to have to contribute at some point.
All right, before we get to that, you guys touched on 2 of the 3 points that I wanted to hit, so you guys got way ahead of me on that. That was the substitutions with Coleman and Santi coming in for O'Neal and Acosta, but we've touched on that. We're not going back. We touched on Santi, that bright spot on his opening debut. What a great thing to see from a homegrown. Third, the one thing that I want to talk about in this game before we move on to Red Bulls, because I don't want to dwell on this game too much, is the Higuita thing. What exactly happened there? And I mean, bad sportsmanship, but is he all in the wrong? Would you have done the same? I want to hear from everyone in the room.
Yeah, so Harry Novillo goes down 3 minutes into the 5-minute stoppage time. Just a 50-50 goal kick that came into the middle, and he and Sasha Kleshtin collided to go get the ball, and he goes down, and referee stops play. And of course, you're thinking gamesmanship. Oh, he's down. He's just trying to run out the clock. And you're down 2 goals. They had just scored, and the crowd was back into it. And I can understand Cristian Higuita wanting to take the ball and go, and they almost got a second. The problem is that, and James O'Connor got out in front of this in his post-game press conference, that's not the etiquette of the game. And so it's a, I don't really know how to answer the question. It's a double-edged sword, you know, with how chippy the game had been. And I can totally understand it, but I also understand James O'Connor saying that's not what this club's about.
Oh, I completely agree. You know, if I put myself in the shoes of Cristian Higuita, the way the game had been, it'd been hot. There's been a few altercations. Dom Dwyer getting into it with Diallo a couple of times in the beginning of the game. I think, look, I'm not going to crush the guy. I understand it. I understand where James O'Connor is coming from. But what would have happened if we score and that sparks, you know, a comeback? Are we still upset about it? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, we'll never know. So I completely understand Cristian Higuita. I don't condone it, kids. I think it's the wrong thing to do in terms of being in sportsmanship and fair play. But when you're hot, when you're in the moment, in the spirit of the moment, you're not thinking about those things. You're thinking, I want to get back into this game. And he saw an opportunity and he took it. And obviously, James O'Connor's not very happy about it. But again, let's not crush the guy.
Rick T?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the game, you know? If you're 8 years old playing a rec game, you know, maybe don't do that.
You're trying to teach a lesson, right?
Yeah, but, you know,
That's a great point.
if this is the game, if there was a game to do it in, this would be the game.
Yeah.
All right, before we talk Red Bulls,
That is a great way to say it.
Miguel, I just want to talk about the CONCACAF Champions League game. I mean, we both saw the results of that game and that whole... What a freaking ringer. Like, what a change of events. I mean, they're up 2-0. They come back and score 4 goals in a span of 20 minutes. Like, you guys, this game was insane. Miguel, break that down.
That was crazy. Look, they started going down 2-0 in New Jersey. So you're already thinking it's going to be a very difficult task to accomplish going into Santos Laguna, known for having one of the most difficult stadiums and atmospheres to play in. Santos Laguna, one of the top teams in Liga MX as of the last 5 years, if not more. By the way, that's my hometown team. That's why I'm speaking highly of them. And
my little brother plays for them, so I also speak highly of them.
Yeah, Santos. So it was going to be a tough task, but you know what? They surprised them. Royer got a goal. I think, I forget who the other player had the goal, Fernandez, I think. And they surprised them, and they were up in the first half 2-0, and everybody all over social media is, can this happen? Is this going to happen? We're all surprised. And then immediately Santos, it was just too much quality and they just came and struck back and they just lost it. But in moments like that, it's not difficult to lose it because you're thinking, holy crap, I'm in a moment where nobody expected us except for us. Maybe had the belief and the courage to go look for the game, which they did. They set up the game really well and they were very aggressive looking for the goal right off the get-go. But at the end of the day, Santos Laguna came back, scored 3 goals, and the fourth one was, I mean, just to seal the deal, an unbelievable golazo from Lozano, first time from behind the halfway line.
Like
I mean, the technique on that strike was flawless. So obviously heartbreaking for the New York Red Bull because I do think that one of the things that MLS is missing to be able to consolidate themselves as a top league, especially in this continent, is to be able to challenge Mexican teams in the CONCACAF Champions League. And they've been close. Real Salt Lake was close versus Rayados a few years ago, all the way to the final. And they're always very competitive. But at the end of the day, it's that quality and that experience that the Mexican teams end up edging them. But also, let's talk about, of course, they have more resources, right? The Mexican teams have more resources. But I tell you what, that's not the case so much anymore with every team. In Mexico, there's a few teams, Tigres, Rayados, America, which coincidentally are the ones that are still in it, that have a lot of resources and they have a lot of depth, which is something that the MLS yet doesn't quite have. And also, let's talk about the fact that the schedule differences makes it very difficult. MLS teams are coming into the CONCACAF Champions when Liga MX are halfway through their season, full throttle, everybody is in rhythm. So that's another element that makes it difficult. But I was heartbroken for the New York Red Bull because they had a right good go, and obviously they have a good team, but Santos just proved too much quality for them.
Well, for the Red Bulls, that was a situation where they were leading and then they lost it, but then against San Jose, completely flipped. They were losing at half 1-0, and they came back to win 4-1. Let's break that down, Evan.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so much quality on this team. They are so good. They were, in my view, the best team in the league last year. I think they just had a tactical mistake in the first leg against Atlanta in the Eastern Conference Finals, where they lacked that bravery that they do seem to have more frequently than they did that day. They tried to sit in, and it didn't work. You can't do that against that team. Otherwise, nobody really challenged them all of last year, and that's because they're just so much quality on this team. I mean, you look at it. You lost Florian Velo, which was a scary moment for them because he lost all of last year to that knee injury. He hurts it again. So in comes Alex Muil. Who scores, right, the other knee. And Alex Muil scores 2 goals, both tap-ins, but created by the quality of a guy like Royer, who can get out wide. Vincent Bezecourt, a 25-year-old from France who they brought in to the Red Bulls 2 setup, and he's come up, and now he's stepping in for Kaku as the number 10. Jorgensen, this 18-year-old striker that they bought from Denmark that they'll likely develop and then sell for more in a couple of years. Bradley Wright Phillips, of course, is the best striker in MLS in the last 5 years. He's creating assists and scoring goals for this team.
For me, they set the standard in the way every other MLS team is striving for, is to be a consistent team that builds players from within, and just if somebody goes, somebody can step in, usually from the academy, that can take over. Yeah,
their USL team produces far more than any other USL team in the league.
Was it Long?
Yeah, Aaron Long was a USL guy. Nobody wanted him.
3 years ago, right?
Nobody wanted him. He comes up, he becomes the best defender in the league pretty much overnight.
Now he's U.S. men's national team. We'll see him here in just a couple days.
Well, we will see him for the U.S. men's national team, but we won't see him for Red Bulls in New Jersey. So that's kind of the big thing here. They're going to be missing 2 of their starting defenders in this game. Which would be Long and then not Lawrence, who is expected back. He was hurt, but he's back. The guy that they're not going to have is Michael Emir Murillo on the other side, the right back. So that'll probably be Kyle Duncan, who's 21, who played left back and got picked on a little bit by Espinoza of San Jose last weekend. Duncan's going to come in on the right side, and he's probably going to be up against Nani. So that's
see a familiar face.
Yeah,
replacing Aaron Long. Amro Tarek is going to be stepping up.
Yep.
For them.
So I think most importantly,
did we go ahead of schedule?
I think most importantly, no, we're fine. But I think most importantly, yes, we can talk about how great Red Bulls are and all of their positives. But how should Orlando City approach this game, going into such a hard team and with so much quality?
I think you kind of go after them. I mean, you got nothing to lose. You're going on the road. You're coming off a performance that you'd rather forget. I would love to see them go back to the 3, and Wright Phillips. Is it a risk to leave him one-on-one with the defender? Of course. But you know what? You're not going to have your central midfield pairing either. So you might as well just floor it and go for it. And if you get beat badly, it happens, but you went for it. I think this team has to be brave in this game, and I expect that they will be.
That's something that we've heard from the coaches, is to be brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he says brave, he means the entire demeanor of the team approaching the game, but not just that. Be brave on the ball.
Yes.
And playing balls to break lines. That's a big thing for James O'Connor, especially for players in the back. You have to be brave on the ball to play a through ball, because that's how you win games. That's how you gain your yardage on the field. You can play lateral all you want, as long as is that eventually you play that vertical ball. You're brave and you have courage to play that vertical ball in between 2 players to get somebody to beat a line of defense. And I think that's one of the topics and the common denominators of James O'Connor's philosophy. Be brave on the ball. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, as long as you're being there are areas that is worth playing that ball. And obviously you're very careful in the back when you don't have success on that ball. I agree. I think we need to go for it, because we have some ground to make up. Yes, it's a long season, but I think we need to start getting some more positive results. And I think if you go approach a very good Red Bull, timid and afraid, I think that you're gonna get punished for it. So I think we need to go get after it. And I think obviously we'll be missing some players, which something we'll talk about, right? We'll talk about the national call-ups for our team.
Let's get to that. So you're absolutely right about everything, but we're missing our 2 midfielders.
We're missing our 2 midfielders.